Imagine you walk into a store with thousands of dollars in your pocket, and the salesperson still tells you, you can't have the watch you want. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what makes Rolex so powerful. Rolex doesn't simply sell watches. It sells status, scarcity, trust, and desire. And over the decades, it turned an ordinary product category into one of the most powerful luxury businesses in the world. So how did Rolex do it? Let's go back to the beginning. From a small idea to a global icon, Rolex was founded by Hans Wilsdorf in the early 20th century. At the time, wristwatches weren't considered the ultimate symbol of precision and status that they are today. Wilsdorf believed that a wristwatch could be both beautiful and extremely reliable. But there was a problem. How do you convince people to trust something as small as a wristwatch? The answer was simple: make the product prove itself. Rolex focused heavily on precision, durability, and reliability. The brand became associated with serious testing and high standards. And eventually, Rolex watches became known not just as accessories, but as instruments people could trust. That reputation became the foundation of the entire business. Then Rolex discovered something more powerful than quality. Quality can make people interested in a product. But status can make people obsessed with it. And Rolex understood this incredibly well. Instead of trying to become the cheapest watchmaker, Rolex moved in the opposite direction. It built an image around exclusivity. Think about luxury. If everyone can easily buy something, does it still feel exclusive? Probably not. And that's where Rolex's strategy becomes fascinating. Scarcity creates desire. Some Rolex models can be extremely difficult to purchase directly from authorized retailers. Customers may face long waiting periods or limited availability. And when something is difficult to get, people often want it even more. It's basic psychology. If a product is everywhere, it feels ordinary. If getting it requires patience, money, and status, it starts feeling special. Rolex didn't just create demand. It created a situation where demand could exceed readily available supply for highly sought-after models. And that changed the psychology of the customer. Instead of asking, "Should I buy this watch?" people started asking, "How can I get one?" That's a completely different position for a brand to be in. The power of branding. But scarcity alone isn't enough. You can make a terrible product scarce, and nobody will care. Rolex combined scarcity with one of the strongest brands in the world. The crown logo. The recognizable designs. The reputation. The history. The celebrities. The athletes. The entrepreneurs. The association with achievement. Over time, Rolex became more than a watch. It became a visual shortcut for, "I made it," and that's incredibly powerful. Because when customers buy a luxury product, they're not always buying the physical object. They're buying what the object represents. Rolex doesn't need to chase every customer. This is another huge business lesson. Most companies want as many customers as possible. Luxury brands often play a different game. They want the right customers. Rolex protects its premium positioning by maintaining strict control over its brand, distribution, and presentation. It doesn't need to convince everyone to buy a Rolex. It only needs enough people to believe a Rolex is worth it, and once that belief becomes strong enough, price becomes less important. That's the power of perceived value. And then there's the secondary market. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. Some Rolex watches can trade for significant prices on the secondary market, depending on the model, condition, and market demand. That creates another psychological effect. Customers may start thinking, "This isn't just something I'm buying, it could retain significant value." That perception can make a luxury purchase feel more like an asset than a simple expense. But here's an important distinction. Not every Rolex automatically increases in value. Prices depend on the model, condition, rarity, market demand and timing. The bigger lesson isn't about making money from a watch. It's about perceived value. The real Rolex business model. So what is Rolex actually selling? Yes, it's selling watches. But underneath the surface, Rolex is selling precision, heritage, status, exclusivity, trust, and most importantly, identity. That's why the company doesn't have to compete like a normal watchmaker. It created a category in the customer's mind. The business lesson, and this is where Rolex becomes incredibly interesting for entrepreneurs. If you sell a product based only on features, customers compare your price with competitors. But if you build a powerful brand, customers start comparing themselves with the identity your product represents. That's a completely different game. A normal company asks, how can we sell more? A luxury brand asks, how can we make people want what we sell even more? That's the difference. Rolex didn't become a global luxury icon simply by making watches. It built a machine around trust, scarcity, branding and desire. And that's the real Rolex secret. Don't just sell a product. Build a product people want to belong to.